I wasn't supposed to hear it. I came home earlier than usual. The meeting in Denver got canceled, and I decided not to text her. Thought I'd surprise Emily with sushi and maybe a night that didn't end in one of her headaches or I'm just exhausted. But fate had other plans. I stepped into the house quiet, too quiet. Her car was in the driveway, but no music, no TV. Just her voice. It was coming from my office. My damn office. She never used it unless she needed the printer. I moved in slow, careful steps, the kind you take when you're about to find something you don't want to. The door wasn't fully shut, just cracked. And from inside, I heard her laugh. Not the kind she used with me. This one had venom in it. I swear, Ryan still thinks I'm just overworked. Once I drop those divorce papers, he's going to crumble. He'll beg. I know he will. He still thinks I love him. How pathetic is that? Silence. A chuckle. Then a deeper voice, male. Confident. Amused. Babe, you sure he won't see it coming? Oh, please. He's so busy trying to provide that he can't see straight. I've got the papers ready. Friday morning. He'll be blindsided. And when he realizes I took half of everything in the condo in Aspen, she giggled, he'll probably drop to his knees. Just wait. My fingers curled around the doorframe like a vice. For a moment, I thought I might pass out. But I didn't. I backed away. Not into a corner. Not into despair. Into planning. They say betrayal cracks you open. That it's loud, catastrophic. No. It's quiet. Surgical. And in that moment, standing in the hallway with her venom still echoing in my ears, I became someone else. I dropped the sushi on the counter. Walked to the guest room. Shut the door. I didn't cry. I didn't shout. I called my lawyer. Jacob, we're moving ahead. I want the papers filed tonight. Can you have them served by Thursday morning? A pause. You're sure? She's planning to ruin me. I'm going first. He didn't ask for details. He knew my voice. And he knew when I meant business. The next 48 hours were a blur of signatures, asset freezes, trust protections. She thought I was clueless? I'd built this life from the ground up. I wasn't going to let it be torn down by a lying manipulator in designer heels. Thursday morning. She was at the kitchen island, sipping coffee like it was just another day in paradise. She didn't even look up when I walked in. Morning, she mumbled, scrolling on her phone. A knock at the door. She frowned, annoyed. Can you get that? I didn't move. She opened the door herself. 2 men in suits stood there. Emily Harper? Yes. You've been served. She stared at the envelope like it was a snake. What the? Her eyes shot to me. Confused. Then furious. You filed first. I held her gaze. Didn't even flinch. She exploded. You can't do this. This is not how it was supposed to go. I was supposed to it. Surprise me. I cut in. Yeah. I heard. She froze. Mouth slightly open. Pale. You heard. Every damn word. Her lips moved, but no sound came. And that silence was the beginning of her unraveling. That was the day everything flipped. And I wasn't done. Not even close. Emily didn't say anything at first. Just stood there, blinking at the envelope like it was written in another language. When the door shut behind the process server, she finally snapped. You were spying on me? Her voice had venom now. No, I said calmly. I was in my house. You just forgot I live here. She slammed the envelope onto the island and stormed toward me. You had no right. No right to beat you to the punch? I raised an eyebrow. You were going to steal half my assets and laugh while I begged. That's what you said, right? Word for word. She flushed. You took that out of context. Oh, please, Emily. Don't insult both of us. She folded her arms. The smugness returned, just a shade less confident now. You really think a few legal tricks are going to stop me? I'll get what's mine. You'll regret this. That last part struck me as funny. I chuckled. You think I'm scared? You don't even know what I've already done. You want a war, sweetheart? You're 3 moves behind. She blinked. That confidence in her tone flickered. Meaning what? Meaning I'd already talked to our financial advisor. Froze the joint accounts. Transferred my shares in the business into a secured trust. The Aspen condo? Turned out I bought it under a holding company. Her name wasn't on anything. But I didn't tell her all that. Let her squirm. Let her wonder. She walked away, pacing in the living room like a caged animal. You know what? Fine. You want to play this dirty? I'll go stay with Daniel. Oh, the mystery man had a name now. I didn't flinch. Pack fast. That stung her. She marched upstairs, banging drawers like some kind of tantrum-throwing teenager. I poured myself a drink and sat down on the couch, listening to the chaos above. 30 minutes later, she came stomping back down with a suitcase. Not even zipped all the way. She paused at the door, glaring at me like I'd ruined her life. "You're going to regret this, Ryan." I sipped my bourbon. "Already regretted marrying you. Everything after that's just cleanup." She left, slammed the door so hard the painting on the hallway wall tilted. I sat there in the silence, and it hit me. She was gone. No more fake kisses. No more girls' nights that ended in hotel rooms. No more pretending. I should have felt sad or angry, but I didn't. I felt light, like someone had taken their hands off my throat after months of quiet suffocation. The house was mine again. The air felt different, but I wasn't done. She thought she could hurt me, humiliate me, and walk away laughing. Oh no. She was about to find out what it felt like when the man she underestimated decides to strike back, with precision. The silence after Emily left wasn't just peaceful, it was strategic. I needed it, because I knew there had to be more. Her arrogance wasn't built on one affair and some cheap talk. That level of confidence? That only comes when you think you've already won. So I did what every man in my situation should do. I got smart. I pulled out the old MacBook she never used anymore, the one she left behind in her closet. Dusty, password-protected, barely functional. She must have forgotten all about it. But I hadn't. 10 minutes later, I had it unlocked. She never changed her dog's name as a password. Rookie mistake. And just like that, I opened the door to hell. Emails, messages, photos. The first thing I saw was a message thread with someone labeled D, and yeah, that was Daniel, all right. But it wasn't just flotation or vague innuendos. It was full-blown scheming. Once I get him to sign the retirement clause, we can take over the company in 2 years. Aspen's just the start. He doesn't even notice I move funds from the marketing budget every month, LOL. When he cries, I'm gonna record it. I want to see him on his knees. There were pictures too. Intimate ones. In my car. In my backyard. One even on my office desk. That one twisted something in my gut. But no rage this time. I was past rage. This was chess now. I started compiling everything. Dates, transfers, photos, screenshots. I created a file so heavy with evidence it could sink a career. Or two. Because Daniel wasn't just some fling, he was an exec at a competitor firm. A direct rival to mine. And if what I found was accurate, Emily had been leaking confidential reports for nearly a year. Trade secrets. Client lists. Financial strategies. She wasn't just cheating on me, she was betraying everything I built. The worst part? I remembered one of the dinners we had months ago. I was going over projections, and she just smiled and said, "Don't worry, baby. You're too good to ever fail." Now I knew why she said it like that. Like it was funny. That night, I forwarded everything to my lawyer. Labeled the file Queen's Gambit. He called me 15 minutes later. "Ryan, this isn't just grounds for divorce. This is corporate espionage." "Yeah," I said. "Let's make sure it ends loud." He paused. "You sure about this?" "I'm done playing fair." Emily wanted to watch me beg. Instead, she handed me the matches to burn her little empire to the ground. The revenge didn't start with a bang. No explosions, no screaming matches. It started with an email. I sent an anonymous tip to Daniel's company's legal department. A carefully worded message, attached with a sample of the evidence, just enough to light the fuse. Screenshots of confidential files, timestamps, and the metadata to prove they came from Emily's laptop. The rest? I kept tucked away. Not even 12 hours later, I got a call from a mutual acquaintance, Jake, one of the board members at Daniel's firm. "You didn't hear this from me," he said, "but someone dropped a bomb on our compliance department. Daniel's being suspended pending an investigation." I kept my voice flat. "Damn, that's rough." Jake laughed nervously. "Yeah, real rough." Click. I poured myself another drink, sat back, and smiled. Emily had no idea. Not yet. But it got better. Friday morning, I walked into my office, the real one downtown, and Susan, my assistant of 6 years, handed me a large envelope. "What's this?" I asked. "It's from HR. Thought you should see it first." I opened it. Inside was a resignation letter. From Emily. I blinked. A resignation letter. Not addressed to me, not discussed, not even hinted at. Apparently, she planned to submit it after the divorce to cash out her shares quietly and leave with a chunk of the company. Too bad the shares were frozen and the clause she referenced didn't exist anymore. I'd rewritten that policy with the board 2 weeks ago. Retroactively. Her plan? already crumbling. And just to top it off, I had a PR strategy ready. We issued a press release that Friday afternoon. In light of a recent internal investigation, a former junior advisor and an external competitor are under review for possible misconduct involving sensitive data. No names. No slander. Just smoke. And the fire underneath it was spreading. That night, my phone buzzed. Emily. After a week of silence, she finally broke. Can we talk? Please. I let the message sit for 2 hours. Then typed. About what? Your new boyfriend's suspension? Or the data you stole from me? She replied instantly. Ryan, I didn't mean for it to go this far. We were just talking at first. Then it got complicated. I didn't mean to hurt you. I almost laughed. You bragged about watching me beg. No response. 10 minutes. Then 20. Finally. I made a mistake. Can I come home? I stared at that message. And I felt nothing. No pain. No hope. Just clarity. She hadn't come crawling back because she loved me. She came back because her parachute failed. I typed one word. No Saturday morning. Cloudless. Quiet. I was at the gym, sweating out the past, not chasing it, when I saw her. Emily. Leaning against my car in the parking lot, sunglasses on, arms crossed, as if she still owned something here. I kept walking past her. Didn't even blink. Ryan, she called, trailing behind me like a shadow I hadn't asked for. Please. Just 5 minutes. I stopped. Turned slowly. She pulled off her sunglasses, revealing eyes red and glassy. The makeup was perfect, but the woman behind it? Shattered. Make it fast, I said. I messed up, she whispered. I got carried away. I thought I was smarter, stronger. I thought you'd just roll over and let me have everything. I tilted my head. And now, she bit her lip. Daniel's gone. His company fired him. I'm being investigated. People are talking. I can't even get a call back from clients I brought in myself. I stayed silent. I didn't know how much of you I'd lose, she said, her voice breaking. I thought you were weak. Now there it was. The truth. You saw my loyalty as weakness, I said coldly. You fed on it like a parasite. You laughed behind my back. Now you're watching your little kingdom collapse and running back because you think I'll save you. No. I'm not asking you to fix it, Ryan. I want to undo the damage. I stared at her, then pulled out my phone and opened a photo, the one of her and Daniel on my office desk, smiling like they were celebrating a win. I showed it to her. Undo that. She looked like she'd been slapped. Tears welled up, but I didn't care. Not anymore. Emily, you lost me long before the affair. You just didn't notice because I was too busy trying to make our life work. But I'm done. This conversation? It's the last one we'll ever have outside a courtroom. Her jaw trembled. So that's it. No. I stepped closer. That's justice. She flinched. I walked away, hearing her breath hitch. But I didn't turn back. Not for her. Not ever again. Later that day, I had dinner with my sister and her kids. We laughed. We joked. It felt like life again. I realized I'd spent years walking on eggshells around someone who wouldn't have blinked if I'd lost everything. And yet now, she was the one crumbling. My lawyer sent me a copy of her financials. She defaulted on her credit card. The condo in her name? Turns out Daniel had borrowed against it without telling her. She had nothing. The woman who boasted about watching me beg was now praying for a lifeline. But I wasn't her savior. I was the one holding the scissors to her last thread. The invitation came in the form of a glossy black envelope, thick and unnecessarily elegant. It was from the Vanguard Awards, a business gala hosted every year by a group of investors and CEOs. I'd never cared much for it before. But this year, my company had been nominated for strategic growth and integrity in leadership. The irony wasn't lost on me. Normally, Emily would have begged to attend. It was her type of event. Champagne, camera flashes, curated gossip. She'd probably already picked the dress months ago, thinking she'd be at my side, playing the loving wife. Instead, she was holed up in her sister's basement, posting filtered selfies and pretending nothing had changed. But things had changed. And I realized this event wasn't just a celebration. It was a spotlight. A chance. Because among the attendees would be Daniel's old partners, some of Emily's former clients, and at least 3 reporters known for sniffing out corporate drama. All I had to do was speak. One wrong word from me, and her name would be radioactive by morning. But was I that guy? I thought about it as I adjusted my tie in the mirror. I thought about it walking the carpet, flashing polite smiles, shaking hands. And I thought about it as I stepped onto the stage to accept the award. The host leaned toward the mic. Please welcome Ryan Carter, founder and CEO of Carter Dynamics, this year's recipient for strategic integrity. The applause felt distant. I wasn't nervous. I wasn't proud. I was calculating. I took the mic, looked out at the crowd. They were all watching, hungry for wisdom, or maybe just a headline. And in the third row, I spotted her. Emily. Dressed in silver, eyes hollow, smile brittle. Someone must have pulled a string to get her in. Probably thought she could still salvage her image. I paused, cleared my throat, and began. I want to thank everyone who believed in this company, who believed in me. Because this year, I learned something. The room leaned in. I learned that betrayal doesn't come from strangers. It comes from people who clap for you when the world is watching and plot against you when it's not. Gasps rippled through the audience. All eyes darted, some already turning toward Emily. But I wasn't done. I could have stood here tonight and aired dirty laundry. Could have named names. Shown proof. Humiliated the people who tried to dismantle everything I built. But then I remembered something. I looked straight at her. Revenge is temporary. Dignity is forever. I placed the trophy on the podium. I didn't win tonight because I struck back. I won because I stood tall. And no one can steal that. Applause thundered. And Emily? She got up. Walked out. Fast. Head down. She knew. That was it. The curtain had dropped. 3 days after the gala. Just as I was starting to breathe again, she struck. A letter arrived, thin, aggressive, and signed by her new attorney. A lawsuit. Emily was accusing me of emotional sabotage, claiming I used private marital information to slander her publicly and damage her reputation. I read it 3 times. Then again, slower. It was laughable. There wasn't a single name mentioned in my speech. No specific events. No details. Just enough truth between the lines for her to feel the sting, and that's what killed her. It wasn't about the law. It was about control. She couldn't accept that she'd lost the narrative, that I'd walked through her fire without burning and then, somehow, came out cleaner. So now she wanted war. Again. I handed the letter to Jacob, my lawyer. He raised an eyebrow, flipped through it, then scoffed. Desperate. This wouldn't last 5 minutes in court. But it'll make noise, I muttered. She doesn't care if she wins. She just wants people to talk. He nodded. Want me to counter with breach of fiduciary trust? We've got everything lined up. And we did. I had enough evidence to bury her professionally and legally. If I filed those charges, she'd never work in finance again. Maybe not in anything again. But I hesitated. Because despite everything, I didn't want to become her. Let her burn her life down. I wasn't going to throw gas on the ashes just to watch it glow. I'm not countering, I said. Not yet. Jacob tilted his head. You sure? I want to meet her. One last time. We arranged a neutral place. A glass-walled office inside Jacob's firm. Cold. Formal. No room for theatrics. She walked in looking tired, but still trying to fake power, heels, red lipstick, that same polished smirk. You got my letter, she said, sitting down like she owned the room. I did, I replied. And I know what you're trying to do. Trying to defend my name, she snapped. No, I said. You're trying to drag me into the mud because you can't stand that I climbed out of yours. Her eyes narrowed. You humiliated me, Ryan. That speech, people knew it was about me. No, I said again. Calm. Measured. They guessed. You confirmed it by reacting. That's on you. She slammed her hand on the table. You think you're so noble, so untouchable. I leaned forward. I think I gave you more chances than you ever deserved. Silence. I'm dropping the suit, she finally muttered. But don't think this means I forgive you. I stood. I don't need your forgiveness, Emily. I need you out of my story. She glared at me. But there was nothing left in her eyes. Not fire. Not hate. Just emptiness. 2 weeks passed. Silence. No more emails. No surprise legal threats. No sudden appearances in parking lots or fake apologies in my inbox. It was over. Or so I thought. I was in my office, a rare quiet afternoon, finally getting back to real work. Work that mattered. When Susan, my assistant, poked her head in. There's a delivery for you. I frowned. From who? She shrugged. Courier didn't say. Just left it at the front desk. It was a black box. Small. Sleek. No return address. I opened it slowly. Inside was a single flash drive and a note. You should know what she did when you were in the hospital. My heart stopped. The hospital. 3 years ago. I'd been in a car accident, minor, but I'd spent 2 nights under observation. Emily had stayed 1 night, then disappeared the next. Claimed she had work, meetings, said she was checking on the condo remodel. Back then, I believed her. With trembling hands, I plugged the drive into my laptop. There were 3 files: photos, messages, 1 video. The video loaded first. It was surveillance footage, grainy but clear, from a luxury hotel lobby. Timestamped the exact night I was in that hospital bed. Emily walked in, dressed in red, laughing. Daniel was behind her, hands on her waist. They kissed at the elevator. My fingers clenched the edge of the desk. I forced myself to watch. The messages were worse. He's out cold anyway. What's the difference? Hospital food's disgusting. I'd rather be wrapped in your arms. I hope he stays another night. I'm not done with you yet. 3 years ago, she had already started chipping away at me before I ever suspected it. It wasn't just betrayal. It was cruelty, calculated and cold. I sat there in silence, breathing steady, but I wasn't broken. That version of me, the one who would have wept, who would have spiraled, he was gone. Now, I just saw facts. Cold truths. Unchangeable. I deleted the files. Didn't forward them. Didn't call her. Why? Because I didn't need to anymore. She no longer had power over me. Her name was just a footnote in a chapter that ended the moment I chose myself over the illusion she fed me. That night, I stood on my balcony, whiskey in hand, city lights humming beneath me, and for the first time in years, I felt free. She thought I'd beg, thought I'd crawl, but instead, I walked out of the fire holding my own damn crown. And to anyone who's been lied to, used, or left behind, here's my advice. Don't chase the people who broke you. Replace them with peace. And if you're lucky, you'll realize the end of that story was actually the beginning of something much greater.